Hello, everybody. We're live at a Microsoft 365 community conference where Microsoft just did some amazing news around employee engagement. But to go through all over those news, I'm not alone. I'm lucky enough to be joined by DC, Principal Product Manager at Microsoft. DC, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vlad, for having me here. It's been a blast in the past 3 days at the M365 conference. It's the great energy, meeting all of our customers and our partners, the people who bring our work to life, and bringing our new innovation in front of them and getting them excited about the road ahead. That's all this conference is about, and I'm excited to share all of that insights with Vlad in this podcast.
Well, thank you so much. I know you told me that we're not going to do slides.
Yes.
We're going to go directly to demos, and
Yes.
I love that.
Awesome.
That is the best part. So, what do you have for us today?
So my passion, my area of interest in work is employee engagement, and how do we use Copilot built on top of SharePoint, because everything runs on SharePoint. I'm a proud proponent of that story. Everything runs on SharePoint. The right answer is always SharePoint. And I love to talk about how do we build these experiences on top of that, and how do the various components and features that you might have heard of over the several years, right? How do they come together, and what's new in all of those innovation, and how do you package that as an experience and roll it out within your organizations or with your clients? That's what I'm here to talk about.
Awesome. Let's get started.
Awesome. Okay. First thing I want to show is Viva Connections. Viva Connections was launched about 4 years ago as a new way of imagining intranets and imagining employee engagement apps. At the end of the day, we all are here to serve our customers, and the customers who are deploying these experiences are in turn serving their workforce and their employees to be better engaged, to up-level themselves, to upskill themselves, to get their jobs done, to be feeling like part of a community, share the culture, and grow together. That's the vision. That's what everybody wants. And we are innovating. How do we go think of newer ways of getting this done? And Viva Connections was born out of that inspiration and that aspiration and that vision. Given that Teams is now widely used everywhere, some call it the organizational operating system. Everybody's on Teams all the time because they're talking to people, collaborating, working on documents, getting their work done. Even on the go when you're on the mobile for frontline scenarios, Teams is the favorite app to get done. And what we imagine with Connections is, hey, let's build the employee engagement experience right into Teams. And that's what Connections is about. Whether you already have an intranet-based, SharePoint-based intranet, or you are getting started early with coming to the Microsoft 365 cloud, and you want to get started with a portal or an employee engagement experience on the go, Viva Connections is the way to go. Viva Connections is going to get you is going to get you started faster. It's going to get you reaching more of your users, and it is a companion experience to your existing intranet investments. It builds on top of that. It drives more engagement. Think of it as this is how you're keeping your intranet fresh. Keeping the intranet fresh is not just about updating the content on the homepage itself. It's about encapsulating what's in there and putting it in front of where people are.
I love that. And when I worked with Intranet, when I was working at Valo, we worked together a lot. And the thing that I learned is you have your intranet in SharePoint. That's where it will always be. But your goal is to see that communication seen. So have it on as many channels as possible. Some people, we learned today, this week in the keynote, 320 million monthly active users in Teams. Mm-hmm. If people love to work in Teams, we need that intranet in Teams. If people like it on SharePoint, let them still go to SharePoint. We got to give them as many options as possible.
Exactly.
With the goal of them seeing the content.
Exactly. And here is where I'd love to talk about a metaphor on how to think about this, right? Your intranet is like your sit-down restaurant experience. You have a grand experience, you have the full menu, you have the time, you immerse yourself in the ambiance, and you get the maximum value. The intranet on the Teams, Viva Connections is like the app, the DoorDash app or the Uber Eats, where even there you show up with your brand. Your restaurant shows up with a brand, but there the intent is action. You want them to get the job done faster. Somebody's on the go, somebody wants to order food. It's the same restaurant, it's the same food, it's just a different experience. It's
I
a
love
micro
that.
experience of the larger ecosystem. It's a companion thing. The same people who use your Uber app or the DoorDash might come once a month to the restaurant itself and consume. And it's a very similar mindset on this. You want people to have access to your content and your information and your resources wherever they are.
I love that metaphor because it's the same food, but how you want to consume it and what you want to do with it completely different.
Exactly.
But your brand is everywhere, and they still end up being your client. So they
Exactly.
still end up ordering.
Exactly.
I love this metaphor.
Yep, that's the story here. So with that, I'd like to quickly go through what a Viva Connections experience can do, and then feel free to interrupt me
Oh, I
and
can't
ask me
wait to
questions.
see that and the new content and the
Absolutely,
latest.
absolutely, and I'll clearly talk about what's already available and what is going to be coming soon, and and we'll take questions. And if you wanna
Oh,
start
I'll
me off with
bug you with the toughest questions, but I'll let you get started first, and then I'll bug you with questions.
Thank you, Vlad. Okay, so what you seeing on the screen here is our demo environment that we shared at the conference. So you are actually seeing what we shared at the conference, a fully set up Viva Connections experience. So I'm going to walk through this as if I am just the consumer of the content. The same user here is also the owner of the content, and we're going to talk about the editing experience as well, the creation experience. But let's look at it from the consumption angle first. So what immediately grabs my attention is this announcements experience right on the top. This is a key marquee experience that we brought into Viva Connections specifically because you're already in Teams. You're already familiar with the concept of people notifying you and you getting activity feed notifications. The idea is when you have an employee engagement scenario of, hey, there is an important announcement, there is a CEO and a town hall happening, or in this example, we're using the M365 conference where we are going to show up in a big way. That announcement grabs your attention through an activity, and you have a notification in the activity, and it'll directly bring you into the Viva Connections app where you can then look at the actual announcement and consume it from there. So that's the number one item. The second is right below there is what I call as the transient information. Essentially, an intranet is all about information. And if you really whittle it down, it's links, right? Link to information, link to information. You want to be the gathering, the distribution house of information. But information is not always all equal weighted. Some things are urgent, some things are important, but they are they are presented differently. Something is long-standing. There's multiple ways to think about that. So that's the spotlight at the top, where important information, but it's transient in nature. Every week you might have a new thing, the latest news of this week, latest news of this month.
You need to have it fresh. You need to have it fresh because, when you open the app, this is what you see.
Exactly.
This takes up your screen, and if people open this and they see the same thing as last week, they're not even going to scroll down.
Exactly. Yes. Keeping the intranet fresh, using SharePoint News, and having that show up in these spotlight experiences is all that's about. And what more, this is a spotlight for not just SharePoint News. Anything with a URL can be spotlight in this experience, as I'll show you when I wear the hat of a creator and walk through the edit experience.
Awesome. I love this. But
Okay.
I love how beautiful it looks, though. It's like moving, it automatically resizes. It's sexy.
Exactly. Thank you. The further down is the dashboard, and this is the most favorite part of for me as the product or part of the product team that's building this. The dashboard is a completely reimagined way of how intranet content is presented. And I want to reiterate that point right now. Right. At the end of the day, for people who've been in the intranet business over the past 30, 40 years, if you've had a company and if you are part of the internet age, then you've had an intranet within your organization. There's no escaping that. A place where people find information. And it ends up being a link farm. You come, you click on something, and then you go to another place. Maybe 2 clicks down, you find that nugget of information that you were really looking for. The dashboard is now bringing that nugget into micro experiences in the form of cards. Every organization is different, and what that nugget of information matters within an organization keeps changing. That's okay. Some companies care about this, and within the same company, various cohorts think about it differently. But the idea is now you have a clean, sleek, desktop and mobile friendly experience with a low code, pro code, and zero code option. We have the spectrum of possibilities with these dashboard components, adding the card in there. Again, we'll go into the creation
And I know
experience.
you'll go
wanna
into the
talk about
maker
that.
experience in a bit,
Yes.
but those in the same company, they can also be targeted to users, right?
Exactly,
So HR and field workers don't have the same priorities.
Exactly, yes. And we're going to talk about that in the maker experience
Awesome.
as well. Thank you for that. But one thing I'll also call out is here is an option to customize. As the end user, even if you do not have edit access to the portals itself, right? Most end users are just consuming content.
Yeah.
But the dashboard, for the first time in the SharePoint ecosystem, the dashboard is now going to allow you to add your own content, even if you are a reader.
Nice. That's amazing, because even if Maker DC thinks what I know, well, I might like my stuff differently, or the stuff I care about is different than the stuff you think I care about.
Exactly. We want the dashboard to be ultra personalized. We're going to do as much as possible to build the framework. Your maker is going to take the extra step of identifying the cards and targeting it for you. But as the user, you take it even further. You add cards yourself, which is just for you. It shows up in the desktop here. It shows up in your mobile phone with the Teams app. It shows up even when you are in the site, in the intranet site, where this dashboard web part has been added. That's the power of this dashboard experience. We're very excited to be rolling it out, and all of this is available right now in your organizations.
That's amazing. Well, now I'll put my IT pro hat on for a bit.
Okay.
And you know, IT pro, Vlad, we know what's the question that all the IT pros ask you. Can I limit the cards? Can I turn it off? Not that I'm saying I want to, but you know, IT pro hat, we like control.
Yes, yes. So with great control comes great responsibility, so use it responsibly, right? But the idea is, yes, there is an ability, and we have documented this. I don't need to demo it here, but there is a place where you go and turn off the thing where you allow your end users to modify your dashboard.
Okay.
Because you feel like, nope, this is a frontline scenario. I cannot have them change stuff on the go. It restricts for whatever reasons.
You know, field worker, like you said, or people on the road, you create your training, and you're like, in your training, you say, look, go here, go to your dashboard, is the second card.
Yes.
I want it to always be the second card.
Exactly.
And again, for people that are like us in front of the PC all the time, yes, we know how to use it.
Got it.
People that are retail workers that log in once a week, you want their payslip, you want one training document for them to find their payslip.
Absolutely.
So it's good to have, but I love it for most people that they can customize it.
Exactly. SharePoint is nothing if not flexible and having governance and control. There absolutely is an option for you to not have this end user ability. But as for other scenarios, end users do get to have this. You can reset to the default, and then now you're back to what was published by the maker for your consumption. Now you have the consumption experience. And you can see this is a quick, typically we've heard a lot of end user feedback with intranets on, you know, my HR system looks different when I'm looking at my pay, my time off system looks different when I'm doing something here, my tasks look different. Each line of business application we all know, we've been working on this, have their own development even. They have their design language and everything looks different. So this dashboard is bringing that to be a sleek, streamlined experience. Enrollment, look, it opens up and it talks you through the quick information in a meaningful way. Your payslip, right there, in a similar consumption experience. Your system status across the world.
That's how much a principal PM makes at Microsoft.
Well, we'll talk about that over drinks later.
Okay.
But this is a demo environment, and that's what's going on.
I know, I'm messing with you. Because you're one of the few people that I think that is your picture at the top right.
Yep, it is.
Most people have Nestor White or Megan Brown.
Megan Bowen is the most popular.
Bowen, I know, the most popular person in Microsoft.
Yes.
So that's why I was laughing.
Yes, this time around, our team made the choice that whoever is the presenter, present as yourselves even in the demo experiences.
I love that.
So I think it's okay. Like that, you know, there's no reason to pretend like we're not who we are. Right?
Yeah.
Bring your true selves to the work environment.
I love it.
Yep, that's what we're about. So card experiences, and at the bottom is resources. This is what I call as permalinks. Content that you probably are not going to think about it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Maybe once a quarter you think about, oh, wait a second, where's this travel policy? I got to travel, I need to know where I can book my car or which flights I'm allowed to take. Like those kinds of links, you want them handy, and there's a section for that. Like it's a visual alignment of the information. Could everything be just like a stack rank set of links? Sure. But it doesn't serve the purpose. It doesn't help discovery. It doesn't help a cohesive strategy in thinking about the information. Viva Connections helps you bring it all together. It provides the framework for organizing your content by relevance, importance, structure, and impact.
Question for you. The links, can I modify them as well? The resources, can I also customize them?
Not as an end user, only as a maker.
Okay, so I cannot add additional stuff to there. That's only a maker. So the dashboard is that personalized experience. Everything else, the maker controls.
Maker controls, yes. Because what we wanted to show here is you could actually add a card which is links.
So you can have quick links as a card.
Exactly. You can add the same links as a card experience. And the reason we did that is the card becomes the quintessential thing that travels across various form factors.
That's what I love, is that I have, instead of bookmarks for my company where I need to have them on different browsers, things like that, and it's weird on the phone, now I know that I open Teams, I go to the app, and all the stuff I need is there.
Yes.
Whether I'm on my iPad, phone, or work laptop.
Or browser, because now we have a differentiating factor between using an app and the browser. Now, we're covering all the bases.
Well, that's the goal. It's having the same experience
everywhere,
or having the same access everywhere.
Exactly. Awesome. So the repetition helps with people remembering what it does, and the same thing showing up everywhere is what have the muscle memory of this is where I need to go to get this information, and that reinforces that experience.
Awesome. I love it.
Okay, so now we've quickly gone through this. I'm going to click onto the news experience. The home is what, as a maker, somebody puts out for you, creates it and puts out for you. But then the news is a system-driven experience. As the user who's been using Microsoft 365 products and experiences, the system knows who you are, who you work with, what sites do you access, what files are you accessing, where is the content being trending, and we are finding the relevance based on your activities and provide the news experience, the SharePoint news experiences that are aligned with that priority, stack rank it, and put it in front of you.
It knows you better than you know yourself sometimes.
Philosophical statement, again, we can discuss that over drinks later.
That's an over drinks discussion.
Absolutely. But that's okay. Technology is meant to challenge us, to help us find the safe ways of using this, and we are very glad that we're using the right way of finding the relevance and putting it together. And Viva Connections is about helping you grow at your work, do better at your work. We don't care that you spend 20 minutes on this. We just want you to get the maximum value in the time that you are giving yourself to get the work done. So you come here for 30 seconds, get what you want, click and go. That's success. You scroll for 3 minutes, that's also success. You do what you want to do and get the value out. Because we are all here to work, get work done.
Awesome, but I don't know what you want to show next, but I see a new button.
Yeah, okay.
I see a new button here, and I want to ask you about it right away.
Yes.
Listen to a recap.
Yes.
That sounds interesting.
Yes, absolutely, and we are very excited to bring that in front of you all. But I'm going to walk through this newsreader experience, the actual UX of showing the various card sizes and various cards that represent your news. The news grid is rolled out everywhere. Everybody has access to it. And the idea is, as you are within the newsreader, you are able to consume the news item right within Teams. This is Teams. You're on the Teams experience. You are reading a SharePoint news item and then go back to the grid to consume more news item. So the idea to make it behave like a traditional newsreader experience, bring the relevant content and have you engage with it. Maybe you can save an item for later and come back and, I want to read this later. Or, you show your appreciation, send a like to this news item. All of this can be done right from the card. And we want whatever people are familiar with in their regular life, social applications, and those things carry over to work as well. You want to be able to say, I don't want to reply all, I don't want to say something. I just want to send a thumbs up and say, I appreciate this work.
Yeah.
That's great. Here's an option for you to go do that. So that's what we are excited
love
about.
it.
And as Eagle Eye Vlad noted, there is the listen to a recap. So what we're doing here is reimagining how people would want to consume content. Of course, there's a lot of effort that goes in putting together news, but then there is a lot of news. And then as much as the system tries to personalize the content, as much as the makers use audiences to target, at the end, the last mile is how an end user is going to perceive and say, you know what, I want to pick what I want to read. And AI is going to step in and help you figure that out. So the thing that we are rolling out right now, and I'm going to click on this, this is generating textual summaries, single line summaries of all the top news items in your feed. This is not just about making the item simple, this is giving you a highlight. It's a teaser reel for you to say, okay, I'm going to read a single line summary and see what piques my interest, which then you can go read that specific article in detail. This is a way of the final mile filtering. How do I filter out what matters to me, or how do I filter out what's interesting to me? AI is there to help you out.
That is amazing, because you can know right away which ones you actually want to go spend more of your time in.
Exactly.
And which ones of them, like, this is cool, but not for me.
But not for me, exactly. Save it for later. Maybe, it sounds interesting. Whenever I time, I'm going to read it, go down there and, save that item right there, and you can have it for later. So AI is an assistant here. It's helping you understand what to prioritize beyond just what's available in the title of the item, right? Because we got to bring all of that together in a meaningful way. And that's the presentation of Copilot-powered enterprise newsreader.
I love it. But I also see, can I have an audio version of it?
I was waiting for you to ask. Let me play this video.
Hello, and welcome to your daily AI news briefing. We'll be starting any minute now. Learning in the flow of work, transforming organizational growth. Continuous learning integrates skill development into daily work, fostering personal and organizational growth. It helps employees adapt to industry trends while driving innovation and competitiveness. Effective team building, manager tips for success. High-performing teams are essential for maintaining an organization's competitive edge.
So there you have it. We are introducing a new way of consuming intranet SharePoint news. Of course, podcasts have been in the consumer world for a long time. Yeah. We're bringing it into SharePoint news with the power of Copilot, with the governance, everything that SharePoint allows you. Now you have a new way of consuming news. And where would this be useful? So people are different. Our customers are wide-ranging, and even within a single customer, employees are very, very different. Everybody likes to read and consume and retain content in different ways. Different things stimulate people, and AI is helping you with that ability. For people who have a hard time reading things, maybe it's better when they listen to things. They process better when words enter their ears. This is making products and making content accessible to everyone. In my view, the innovation here is not just about the LLM simplifying it, and it's the value. The value is, hey, you know what? I like listening to things. I register better when I listen to things. And here is a way to do it.
Honestly, I didn't know I needed that, but now that it's there, that's all I want to use.
Great. And the scenario we imagine is you are on the road getting to work, and Monday morning, there's a bunch of news. I want to catch up on it. You hit play on your mobile, and by the way, this is going to be part of your mobile experience as well in Teams.
Awesome.
So Teams is already on your phone. Now you're going to have an audio briefing of the relevant news, the top relevant news within your organization, within the Teams app. No extra app needed, and do not have to worry about governance. Putting on the IT Pro and the IT governance hat, right? No extra governance needed. Yeah. It's all within the safe boundaries of the Teams experience. And then you hit the play button, your CarPlay is going to pick it up, and as you drive to work, you're caught up on the top 10 news items.
This is amazing. I do have one question for you.
Absolutely.
Though. Can we as a user, or maybe the admin, can they change the voice? Can I have and I know this is probably brand new, right? So
Yes.
you're showing me a very alpha version, and I'm asking you for like the Ferrari at the end. But is there at least a plan that I'm going to be able to change the voice to something that I prefer?
Absolutely. And this is always going to be the trick of striking the balance between how much you give IT the power or the Corpcom the control versus how much do end users want to control this. Because what you don't want is this odd mix of an important news item being rendered in a funny tone and
Yeah.
just because end user want. We want to be careful with tone and we want to be careful with how the capabilities of LLMs are put
Of course.
forth in front of people. So we are thinking through that. Step
Okay.
one, we're picking something neutral, and we'll go through iterations on when we can bring in more approved voices or approved tonalities, approved everything. So we're starting first. We're gonna do more.
And another question, I'm afraid I know the answer for that one, but I have a feeling. I'm from Quebec.
Okay, French.
French
Yes,
and English. So
yes.
my question goes to, what about multilingual?
Coming soon.
Coming soon, okay.
Coming soon.
So it's English for now.
English for now. Again, with it's not that the LLM cannot do it. I've had customers and everybody asks, this model can do it and that product. Absolutely. It's not about what the model can do. It's how do you safely bring it into a work environment. Because work is about doing things the right way. You need governance, you need security and compliance and accessibility and everything matters when you are inside the work environment. And that's where Copilot's going to shine, is to make sure that we do this right step by step.
That's the thing that I think many people do not understand is we want to have stuff at the same time as ChatGPT, but we also want it secure, responsible AI and everything, but we want it at the same time. But there's so much work that goes, and I guess a lot of testing that goes into getting that same, because I know a lot of Microsoft uses OpenAI in the back. You guys are big investors. So you guys have access to the tool, the LLM, all of that, but making it enterprise ready.
Yes.
Because the thing is, if you don't do it, everybody makes fun. Oh, this tool is not enterprise ready. And we often hear that in the Microsoft ecosystem, but there's so much work that must go.
Absolutely.
I don't want to know how many meetings you have where you go through the results and working that. It must be crazy.
Exactly. If you were at the keynote with Jared Padur this morning, and there was an entire conversation about a startup, an AI first frontier, company that showed up as an AI first experience. They talked about evals, quality. How do you get the quality right? And imagine as a startup, you could do that, fitting that into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, not just as Microsoft, as customers. How do you make it right? How do you make it be governable? All of that matters, and we're doing it right. We're gonna get it.
Sometimes it matters to get it right. Rather than to be there a few weeks before.
I agree. And that's this the audio experience. The text summary part is rolling out. It should be GA this week or maybe next week. The text summary is going to work. The audio experience that we just saw is going to be coming in a few months. We're again going through our testing and our quality gates, making sure it's right. But audio experience, audio as a way of consuming intranet SharePoint news is going to be coming very soon.
Awesome. So this summer, or at least by Ignite, let's say, to give it a more bigger buffer.
I'm going to challenge myself and my team for a summer rollout.
Summer rollout. I love it. This is amazing.
Cool. So now let's talk about wear the hat. Maker. I'm the maker. How easy is it for me to get all of these things done? So we started with the announcements right at the top. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to create an announcement right from within your team's experience. A lot of the Corpcoms and the information managers within our organization, if they are also workers, they are also working in teams, and somebody tells them, hey, you know what, can you quickly get this announcement? Yeah, of course. Go to the connections experience, type up this thing, and boom, you're off to the chats. Flu shots are, look at that, it's already available for me. And pick an audience that you want to target. Again, just because somebody has access to something doesn't mean the content is relevant to them. So audience targeting is a layer on top of access that lets you filter information to the appropriate people. So So now I'm picking all the Rela Cloud employees, not the other divisions, the Rela Cloud divisions, and have them see this on-site, because on-site here is the geography where Rela
Yeah.
Cloud is. There are many reasons for why you want to target, but you go do that.
It's not a permission thing.
It's not a permission.
Just showcasing the right information to the right people, because if you showcase it to everybody and I as a user keep logging in and the showcase stuff doesn't apply to me, I'll stop going.
Exactly. Relevance matters a lot, and we are helping with relevance with the announcements as well. So I just successfully posted this. I'm going to go back to the connections experience. Me as the creator, I also am part of the Rela Cloud, and there you go. The announcement is right there live immediately.
Right away.
Right away. And people get notified. So not only did this show up in the connections, everybody who's part of that audience
Yeah.
that I mentioned will get a Teams activity notification. Everybody's on Teams. They'll get an activity. They'll come, oh, there's something new. In my workday, you are able to get the attention of people and bring them back to the relevant information.
I absolutely love this.
Thank you. We are so happy to have this out there. And when they come to consume this, they accidentally discover more things, and that is how we want the thing to work.
Exactly.
Like you don't bombard them with everything, but when the relevant thing happens, they come back here, they find the value, they remember it. Okay, so the next time they will come back even when there is no announcement,
Yeah.
because they know the value of Viva Connections as the window into my intranet that is personalized to me.
I love this. And it has come so far in the past 2 years.
Absolutely, it has.
I
Yes.
remember back in the classic intranet back then. So seeing the last 10 years where we were and where we're now is just mind blowing. Now
Absolutely. So quick walkthrough on what's possible with this top section, what we call as a spotlight. So this by default is set up to bring news as a source from the current site. So every Viva Connections experience is backed by SharePoint. And as I mentioned at the start of this, everything is SharePoint, everything is built on SharePoint. Viva Connections is also backed by a SharePoint site. You can bring news from there and show it as default experience. Or you can pick select sites. Or what you can also do is pin items. Anything with a URL, you can pin and highlight. I'm going to pin the conference site right now.
That is so important, because sometimes the CEO has a message or you have something important. Even if there's new stuff that appears after, you want that to be there for a week.
Exactly. So the idea here, I've got
You
two
had
of them.
another one,
I
yeah.
had another one. Let me just keep the one item in there. So engage conversations. If your leadership team has a chat going on in their storyline in Engage, or some news article published an item that went live right now, and like you can gather your your CorpCom team to write about a public post or get that URL and promote it right away. Right? That's what
love it.
Spotlight's about. Get in front of the people right away, right where within in
And I love that it mixes some of the manual stuff of us as humans selecting what's important and the automatic, where we have a little bit of each and I can decide how do I want to balance it.
Absolutely.
2 pinned, 5 dynamic. And
Exactly.
It gives us that flexibility and balance.
Absolutely. I love that you captured that aspect. So the idea here again, we are able to, let me just click and edit and show this here. So you are able to select news from this site, and up to 11 items can be shown. You can mix and match. I want the first 3 and the rest of them is news.
Yeah.
However you want it in there. Yep, that's great. So you can also change the image to bring in your branding, your colors, whatever suits your the brand experience of your intranet. Bring that to reflect at the top of the page with the spotlight.
Awesome.
So with that, I want to actually move to my favorite dashboard. The dashboard is the beating heart of the Viva Connections experience. It's very essential. If you all take away one thing from this podcast, is to go spend the time to understand the dashboard and set up a dashboard for your organization, because Viva Connections is available to everyone who has a SharePoint license. So we want you to benefit from having a dashboard in your Viva Connections in the Teams app. It's by default available to everyone.
Oh, now I have a question for you. You made me think of something new.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm going back to the reading, the recap, the listening to it, and you probably know where I'm going to with my
Yes,
question.
licensing.
Licensing. Do you need an M365 Copilot license for those features?
Yes.
Okay.
While the basic connections experience, the dashboard, the spotlight, and these resources, the basic, and even the news experience, the news reader, all of that is part of your Viva Connections with the existing SharePoint SKU, however you bought your license. The AI experiences are part of Copilot.
Okay. So this
it's
button
an
here,
add-on.
everything
That
in
button
this button.
there is an add-on top
Okay,
of
perfect.
the connections experience.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I was like, who knows?
Good to check.
Maybe Microsoft is giving us stuff here and there, but
Um,
I tried. I tried, everybody. That's what I can say. I tried.
He's trying with the wrong person here. So I'm not the one who decides those questions. But absolutely, we're all here. This is a business. We're going to find out what works. So over time,
Exactly,
we'll figure
yeah.
out what works and make that stick in there. So yeah, happy about that. So let me get into a little bit of how to get started with the dashboard. How do you think about it? So this is the repeat question that we've been asking, and I'm here to help answer this. Obviously, this is a fully built out dashboard, so I can walk you through the many examples of what's possible. But again, the thing to note is you are within Teams. You didn't have to go somewhere else to do this. You are within Teams. Put
That's
on your
crazy.
maker hat, come into Teams, and you can do what you want to make the updates. So while the dashboard serves to up-level the information and the access to tools and apps, it's okay to start bringing your relevant apps into a single dashboard as just you click on a card and you take them to an app. Start with that. And we are ready to get that going with out-of-the-box cards. Now we have a bunch of quick link cards or a link card, right? All of these web link card, you have a OneDrive card to show files, you have a sites card to show the important sites, and you have an Engage card to connect with Viva Engage content. So we've made a lot of out-of-the-box zero code cards. You no code. Add the card, click configure, and your dashboard is off to a great start. Get started with that dashboard experience. The second thing I would then bring about is what I call as the low code experience. Within our own out-of-the-box experience, we have a framework for a card called a card designer. And I'm going to show you how we've done this with something that's going to track a system status. This could be a typical scenario in an organization where either the field worker or knowledge worker, somebody wants to say, you know what, I'm not able to access such a thing. I want to know if it's still online.
Yeah.
So you bring them to the dashboard. They are, or at least they are aware that it's available in the dashboard, and there is a card that shows them the system status. How did we get there? You go click on the edit, and I'm going to show you how we created that. The card designer has the ability to define the layout using just simple JSON. And we have help here, an adaptive card designer experience that lets you design these kinds of cards, copy it from the designer, copy the JSON from this designer, put it into this the card designer, and boom, you become your own designer. You've designed a card.
I love it, but also I have to tell you my experience. I love that you called it low code, so you're honest.
Yeah.
There are some people, maybe at Microsoft, that say anybody can do JSON, that works in HR, things like that. So I'll be honest with you all, your developer friend, you might need to pay them a little beer or a coffee to help you out with this. Because I've tried them, and I think I lost a few hairs while trying to get it, especially as you get in those more advanced ones. So it's low code, but still, if you have a developer friend, a beer or a coffee goes a long way.
Fair point. Again, it's feedback to us. We're going to have to get it right. Maybe the next iteration, we will make it, drag and drop buttons and boxes, and that's how we'll go. So great feedback on how to make this better.
The adaptive card designer actually has a new method now, a new builder, because before we only had the samples and things like that. This one is getting there. This one's almost what I want.
Exactly. So bringing those experiences back into the card designer itself, good challenge to have, for us. More new features to think about and build. Maybe the next conference I'll be here to show, look, you asked me for this and we built it.
I won't need to pay a beer to my dev pharynx anymore. Good. Well, I'll still pay
Getting
it,
back
but
to that.
for fun.
Exactly. So the low code, it is still code. There is a little bit of, but it's a low code experience. You didn't have to go fire up an IDE, write code and compile it, and all of that stuff is not
Yeah.
there. But you can see that you could choose between static content, which is always going to show the same information all the time to everybody, or dynamic content. This is where we are using the ability for this card to call a SharePoint API to get the status of items from a SharePoint list and then present it to your end users. So what you can then do is, as the CorpCom or the intranet manager, you just put a card and point it to your IT systems site list somewhere there, and then they are the ones who are managing the status message of every such system. They update it on their list. Now your intranet dashboard is going to reflect the current status.
Awesome.
So this way, everybody in your organization is up to date on where the current status is without having to go to an IT system separately. They are in the dashboard itself. So that's how we talk about it. The dashboard is a micro experience of the nugget of information that most people care about, presented cohesively in a sleek interface that's desktop and mobile and browser ready. When I say desktop, I mean the Teams desktop application, the Teams mobile application, and your browser intranet web part experience.
And you know what I love about this is that forever intranets would have had like a system status. They would have just had a quick link. Click here to go see the system status. But it was an extra waste of time for me because I had to go to another place. It was extra navigation. Now I just look at it and I know it.
Exactly.
And it's dynamic, updated.
Exactly.
It's a small thing, but it saves people. It increases that experience so much.
Exactly, absolutely. And I'm going to do so this is one experience. Let's take it even further. What if I could have a card designer that is actually user personalized? And I have an example for that here as well. So imagine you are a field worker.
Yeah.
There is a card for you that we have designed as the maker, which is using the low-code capabilities again. It's using the low-code to then design this experience. But what it does is it makes a Graph API call. You can choose between the beta endpoint or the 1.0, which is the GA endpoint, and then call the me experience. The me experience here means the user who is logged in and clicking on the card, the system will go identify that user's content. And in this case, it's the calendar event. So in a field worker scenario, hey, what's my next appointment? Flip open your Teams app, click on the card which says, here are your list of appointments, and now you have a low-code solution that keeps your workforce on time.
That is amazing. And the Graph API is so powerful. You can do, the ideas are endless into what you can do.
Absolutely, yes. And
Whether
we have a
it's
great
planner
community.
tasks, whether it's,
Exactly. Email, planner, SharePoint content, calendar content. All of this is available through this Graph API endpoint, and you are able to have a personalized card experience with just a few clicks. And I agree, there is some level of JSON understanding that needs to happen.
but the more power
nevertheless,
you need to have knowledge. You know, I love that there's that balance of no code, low code.
low code, and I'm going to talk about pro code now. The pro code experience is this where, you either you are a developer or you hire a developer, you got to actually pay them more than a beer. And the idea is now you have the flexibility where you can go talk to your custom, HR solution, line of business, ADP, whoever it is, record, whoever is tracking all of this information, you are able to take your user's identity, make sure they get the information according to them, and then present that information, the user personalized information. So this payslip card is not just a link to your pay system, it is in fact calling the system on behalf of the user, fetching that nugget of information and presenting it into this cohesive, sleek dashboard experience. That's again the value proposition.
And it's amazing. And that opens the door to, like you said, go to other systems and do whatever logic you want. And I like that you can still configure it here. So you create your customization options.
Yep.
And the developer, you tell them what do you want to do, what configurations, and after it's deployed, the maker can still control it.
Absolutely. And our partners, our developers have, we have an access, so you can see this. There are, suggested cards. These are all cards available through our store.
Awesome.
Through these, the SharePoint App Store, you have ACE cards that can be community people develop these cards and they're deployed, and you can bring them into your ecosystem. Make sure you test it, that it works right, and then put it into your thing to call your service provider on behalf of you, and then bring the data back.
That is amazing.
So that is the power of what we want to do in here, and yeah. So the low-code experience of cards that are available out of the box. Zero code, low code. Use the card designer, create your JSON, call any of the API endpoints to have a nice card experience, or the pro code. All of these things come together cohesively again. They don't look different. Everything is subject to the same design language that makes the user experience that much more enhanced. So we are, at the end of the day, we're talking about an employee engagement experience. It doesn't help if everything behaves differently, and I'm like, wait a second, have that cohesion is very important.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
I'm mind blown about all the cool stuff you've been doing.
Thank you.
Wow.
I've got one more thing to show.
There's more?
There's more. There's always more. But actually, I have two things to do. Let me quickly breeze through those two things.
We went Steve more. Jobs.
Sorry?
One more thing.
One more thing, like Steve Jobs, yes. So the resources, the permanent links I want to talk about again. Viva Connections, it can help you get started from zero, or it can help you leverage what you've already invested in. And that's what this is about. And what I want to talk about is when you have resources, you can import it from the home site that you have and say, hey, you know what? My home site is the fully set up navigation of my intranet. Going back to the metaphor of restaurants, right? Your menu could be an entire book, like 50 different items. But then what shows up on your DoorDash menu is the most favorites or the most requested, right? Or the most
ones that are good
ones.
for delivery.
Exactly, ones that are good for delivery. So you applying the similar metaphor, but think about, hey, in this context of being in an employee-centric app experience, which of these resources should be part of the links that I have in my home site should be part of resources. You just click and just import it into your resources. So we don't want you to do double work. We're trying to reduce that. But if you're getting started with for an intranet from ground up, you have nothing in SharePoint yet, you were starting fresh, Viva Connections gets you going fast. The time to value is much faster into this Viva Connections experience.
Amazing.
And last thing I want to show is news. As I said, this is still system-driven, but there is a way for the maker to influence what goes in here. And the idea here is this concept called Boost. It's been in the SharePoint news ecosystem, but once you boost a news item using this button, and then you decide, I am going to prioritize this as the top boosted item news in my organization, you hit the save, and this is the way you get to influence the system-driven news for a given end user.
So it's still AI-based, it's still dynamic, but I'm still telling, well, AI-based maybe is a big word, but you're still telling the system like, hey, you know what? Be dynamic, but this is still more important.
Exactly that. So again, that item got pinned on the top. So the idea being here that we don't want you, we want people to have team news experience. You want to know what's happening around me as much as the top-down information. Finding the right balance, we're providing you the ability where you get to influence this.
Amazing. I love it, and the boost also had the time limit.
Exactly.
So I don't have to go unboost them after. I can decide until when it's important, and then let the system clear that out.
Flush it out. Exactly. Absolutely.
This is amazing. There's so much stuff there, and I think almost, a lot of everything you showed will be here by the summer. So, well, I know some of it you said it might be a challenge. On the audio stuff might be a bit of a challenge to get it by the summer, but almost everything else is here by the summer or here already.
So yes.
For those of you watching, start building this. Start building this today. Your users will love you for it.
Absolutely.
Any final advice before we close this out?
That is it, right? Viva Connections is about helping you keeping your intranet fresh. It's a new way of thinking about how to keep the intranet fresh. It's not just about adding the content and updating the image. You could still do that. We should still do that. Go back to the hotel versus app metaphor. How do you bring more people in this new world where everybody is mobile, hybrid, mobile ready, always on the go, geographically distributed, getting everybody on the same page, helping them up level? Viva Connections is your companion app that's going to get you there.
That is amazing. DC, thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing is not a good enough word.
Thank you.
This has been amazing. And for everybody watching, if you want to connect with DC, follow the latest news directly. All the description will be links will be in the description below. And of course, if you want to keep seeing awesome videos like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you everyone for watching. And of course, one final thing, if you want to have the chance to sit near amazing product managers like this one, make sure you join us at the next Microsoft 365 conference in 2026. Over 200 of your colleagues were here, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
The opportunity to engage directly with amazing people like DC here. So make sure to attend next year. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Vlad, and glad to be part of your audience.